Everyone saw him as the weakest student in school. Quiet, skinny, harmless, but they made one fatal mistake. They underestimated him. Because sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't strength, it's intelligence. This is the story of Yeon Si-eun. Let's dive into episode 1 of Weak Hero Class 1.
내가 부탁했잖아.
The story begins at Baeksan High School, where Yeon Si-eun is known as the school's top student. He has no interest in making friends or getting involved in unnecessary drama. His world revolves around one thing: studying. Calm, quiet, and always keeping to himself, Si-eun spends every day focused on his goals. There were only 13 days left before the mock exam when the results of the math competition were finally announced. As expected, Yeon Si-eun claimed first place. Meanwhile, Yeong-bin managed to secure third. Now let me introduce you to Yeong-bin. He's Si-eun's classmate. Although he's one of the smartest students in school, he's also the biggest bully in the entire class. He believes fear earns more respect than kindness. But the real surprise isn't Yeong-bin. It's Si-eun. Despite finishing first, he doesn't smile. Not even a little. No excitement. No celebration. Just the same cold expression on his face. Seriously, what kind of guy is this? On the outside, Yeong-bin looks happy with his result. But deep down, jealousy is already starting to consume him. Lunch break begins, and so does the bullying. Yeong-bin isn't alone. His two closest friends, Han Tae-hoon and Lee Jong-chan, always back him up. The three of them have practically turned bullying into a daily routine. Today, they're forcing one of their classmates to dance in front of everyone. Then Yeong-bin mocks him. Your parents are dirt poor. Studying won't change your life. You'd better learn how to dance. At least then you'll have a way to make money. That alone tells you exactly what kind of person Yeong-bin is. After humiliating that student, he decides it's finally Si-eun's turn.
Without warning, he throws a shoe straight at him. Annoyed, Si-eun slowly turns around. Yeong-bin casually smirks and says, "Oops, sorry." But Si-eun isn't amused. He calmly replies, "Be careful. Don't let it happen a second time." That single sentence crushes Yeong-bin's ego. He walks right up to Si-eun and says, "And what if I do it again? What are you going to do about it?" Si-eun doesn't even flinch. "Then make sure there isn't a second time." Now Yeong-bin is furious. He sneers. "You know everyone hates you, right? You're so boring. Even if you tried to be friendly, you'd still be annoying." Si-eun fires back without changing his expression. "Anything else? Or did you forget your script? Go memorize it first." The classroom instantly falls silent. The two lock eyes. For a moment, it looks like a fight is about to break out. But then, everything changes. Suddenly, 6 students from another class storm into the room. They're looking for one person. On Suho. The funny thing is, Suho has been sleeping through the whole situation. One of his classmates wakes him up. And yes, this lazy-looking guy is Suho. He sleeps in class almost every single day, barely studies, and couldn't look less interested in school. One of the boys steps forward. "Are you the one who's been dating my girlfriend, Naeun?" Suho casually shrugs. "She kept spamming my DMs, so I went out to eat with her once. But honestly, she's not my type." The moment those words leave his mouth, all 6 guys charge at him together. Unfortunately for them, they have no idea who they're dealing with. Because Suho knows MMA. 6 against 1. And Suho absolutely destroys every single one of them. During the fight, Suho accidentally knocks Si-eun's pencil case onto the floor. After everything is over, he walks over and asks, "Did I drop this?" Si-eun nods. Without hesitation, Suho picks it up and sincerely says, "Sorry." Si-eun looks at him and simply asks, "Why did you have to fight inside the classroom?" Later that day, Si-eun returns home. By now, his father has already heard the good news. His son ranked first in the math competition. Proud of him, his father congratulates him. Not long after, Si-eun starts attending an online class from his room. His father walks in, watches him quietly for a moment, then asks, "Are you still connected to her?" Si-eun calmly replies, "I'm only attending her online lecture." It sounds confusing at first, but the family photo sitting on his desk explains everything. The woman in the picture is his mother. She's a teacher. His parents are divorced and now live separately. Even so, Si-eun still attends his mother's online classes. The next morning, Si-eun arrives early at Byaeksan High School. And the first thing he sees is Suho, already asleep in the classroom. Looks like this guy's talent isn't studying. It's sleeping. That day, the class has physical education. But before the lesson even begins, Yeong-bin quietly steals Si-eun's sports t-shirt and throws it into the trash. When Si-eun opens his bag, he immediately realizes it's missing. He slowly looks at Yeong-bin. With a smug grin, Yeong-bin asks, "What's wrong? Looking for something?" Si-eun says absolutely nothing. He simply stares at him, then walks away. Soon, the fitness class begins. Everyone has to run laps around the field. And here's something unexpected. The smartest student in class turns out to be the weakest physically. Si-eun quickly falls behind. His stamina is terrible. Meanwhile, the laziest student in school, Suho, easily finishes in first place without even looking tired. Impressed, the PE teacher says, "Suho, your athletic ability is incredible. You should seriously consider applying to a sports university." "Sure, the day I beat my friend Bolt's record." The teacher looks confused. "Bolt? Who on earth is that?" "You don't know Bolt?" "Usain Bolt." At that moment, by now almost every student has crossed the finish line. Except one, Si-eun. He's still struggling to finish the race. Watching him, Lee Jong-chon laughs. Look at him. Even if he raced against himself, he'd still lose. The next second, a shoe comes flying out of nowhere and smacks Jong-chon right in the head. Everyone freezes. It was Suho. He calmly says, "Bring me my shoe." Jong-chon, who had been acting tough just seconds ago, doesn't dare argue. He quietly picks up the shoe, walks over, and hands it back with trembling hands. After PE class ends, Yeong-bin and his friends gather together. They're discussing only one thing: how to make Si-eun's life even more miserable. Unfortunately for them, Si-eun overhears everything. He walks straight toward Yeong-bin and says, "You've done enough. Stop now." Yeong-bin smirks. "And if I don't, what are you gonna do?" Si-eun answers without hesitation, "I've already warned you." Then he turns around and starts walking away. But suddenly, Han Tae-hoon grabs Si-eun by the neck and slams him against the wall. Yeong-bin slowly walks closer. "Beg me to let you go, and maybe I'll spare you." Even while struggling to breathe, Si-eun refuses. Never. His face starts turning pale. He's seconds away from passing out. Then, someone appears. His math teacher. The moment Yeong-bin notices the teacher, his entire attitude changes. In an instant, he pretends they were all just joking around. Thanks to the teacher's arrival, Si-eun escapes. After school, Si-eun returns home. After finishing dinner, Si-eun quietly sits down to study. Then, the doorbell rings. "Who is it?" Si-eun asks. A voice answers from outside. "Food delivery." Confused, Si-eun replies, "But I didn't order anything." The delivery man answers, "This is the address I was given." Curious, Si-eun opens the door. And standing there isn't a delivery driver. It's Suho. Suho looks just as surprised. "Wait, what are you doing here?" Si-eun sighs. "This isn't my order." Suho checks the address again. "Isn't this room 102? "No, this is room 101. Wrong apartment." Then, without feeling even slightly embarrassed, he says, "Can I have a glass of water?" Si-eun immediately replies, "Why would I give you water?" Seriously, who refuses someone a single glass of water? In the end, he grabs a bottle and is about to pour water into a glass. Suho snatches the bottle from his hand and drinks the entire thing. Not a single drop left. Si-eun stares at the empty bottle. "You're unbelievably annoying." Suho laughs. "I'll buy you 3 bottles tomorrow." Suho quietly walks away. And just like that, a strange friendship begins to take shape. The next morning, a new transfer student arrives at Byaeksan High School. His name, Oh Byum-suk. He recently transferred from Monggang High School. At first glance, Byum-suk seems quiet, polite, and incredibly innocent. And the moment Yeong-bin notices him, a smile appears on his face. Because in his eyes, a new victim has just walked into the classroom. A little later, Yeong-bin is sitting at Si-eun's desk. When Si-eun arrives, he calmly says, "Move." Yeong-bin doesn't even bother looking at him. "No. And what are you going to do if I don't?" Without saying another word, Si-eun picks up his pen. Then, in a calm but chilling voice, he says, Get away from my desk, unless you want to regret it. For a brief moment, the entire classroom falls silent. Yeong-bin stares at Si-eun, his eyes filled with anger. It looks like another fight is about to begin. But before anyone can make a move, a familiar voice echoes through the room. Can you guys keep it down? I'm trying to sleep. Even Yeong-bin decides to back off. But as he walks away, he glares at Suho. I'll deal with you later. Later that evening, Yeong-bin meets up with his friends at a bar. They're drinking beer while discussing one thing: how to teach Si-eun a lesson he'll never forget. Then, someone new walks in. His name is Jeon Suk-dae. He places several small patches on the table. They're fentanyl patches. The next morning, it's finally the day of the mock exam. The classroom is completely silent. Every student is busy reviewing their notes one last time. Except Yeong-bin. Instead of studying, he quietly calls Suk to the cafeteria. Trying to be friendly, he even buys him a cold drink. Then he suddenly asks, I heard you were bullied back at Mongang High School. Suk freezes. His expression instantly changes. Sensing his fear, Yeong-bin smiles. Relax. I'm not going to tell anyone. He pauses for a moment, then continues. But I need you to do me one small favor. Suk hesitates. What do you want me to do? Without saying a word, Yeong-bin pulls the fentanyl patch out of his pocket. He places it in Suk's hand, then quietly says, once the exam starts, stick this on the back of Si-eun's neck. Suk's face turns pale. He knows this is wrong, but he also knows exactly what happens to people who refuse Yeong-bin. Trapped between fear and guilt, he has no choice. He reluctantly agrees. A few minutes later, the mock exam begins. Yeong-bin gives Suk a subtle signal. Suk quietly sticks the fentanyl patch onto the back of Si-eun's neck. Only a few moments later, Si-eun's vision starts becoming blurry. The classroom begins spinning around him. His head feels unbearably heavy. Unable to endure the dizziness any longer, Si-eun rushes to the restroom. He splashes cold water across his face again and again. But it doesn't help. His legs grow weaker. He slowly makes his way back to the classroom. Still trying to figure out what was happening, Si-eun instinctively touches the back of his neck. And that's when he feels something. A patch. He immediately rips it off. The moment he realizes someone drugged him, his breathing becomes heavier. His body is shaking with rage. But instead of taking it out on someone else, he takes it out on himself. Again and again. He slaps his own face until his cheeks turn bright red. He's forcing himself to stay conscious. The exam finally comes to an end. Soon after, the answer sheet is released. Students immediately begin checking their answers. One by one, everything looks correct. Until question number 15. Si-eun got it wrong. A question he should have solved without even thinking. The kind of mistake he would never make under normal circumstances. Slowly, he turns his head toward Suk. Their eyes meet. For a brief second, Si-eun suspects him, but almost instantly, he realizes the truth. Suk wasn't the mastermind. He was just another victim. The real person behind everything was Yeong-bin. At that moment, only one word remains inside Si-eun's mind: revenge. Without saying a single word, he picks up his pen, then grabs a nearby book, and calmly walks toward Yeong-bin. No shouting, no warning, no hesitation. Using the weight of the book like a weapon, he swings it straight into Yeong-bin's face. Before anyone can react, he drives the pen straight through Han Tae-hoon's hand. The entire classroom freezes. Yeong-bin stumbles backward, driving him all the way toward the classroom window. Then, Si-eun wraps the window curtain tightly around Yeong-bin's face. He repeatedly smashes the book directly into Yeong-bin's nose. Within moments, the white curtain is stained red with blood. Unable to endure the pain any longer, Yeong-bin collapses onto the floor. If you really like this video, start doing the social work. Watch others' video from my chan. If you like, make sure you subscribe. So, today I'm leaving. Catch in the next video. Bye!